Kastro's Plush is available now on the Youtooz website with only very limited numbers, so make sure to click the link below and buy yours as soon as possible. Let's sell this out, guys. I'll also be giving away a Kastro plush. To enter, simply comment below your favourite Youtooz plush and make sure you're subscribed. Thanks very much, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
Okay, I clapped.
That's a good start. And that's all the intro I need. Welcome back, everyone, to Limited Time. As you may hear on the other end of this very wonky Discord chat we've got a Canadian and an Australian talking to each other. Feel free to introduce yourself. This week's episode is Kastro. How are you?
Hi there. I'm Kastro. Sorry, this is very new to me. I'm calling in all the way from my space station that I work at above Vancouver, so I'm probably getting some Vancouver levels of Wi-Fi right now.
Oh, wow. Like that's all the intro that I could do. Yeah, this is like the most nerve-wracking bit for me. As I explained before recording, I'm just like, just give me something so we can get rolling. No,
well,
I've got to thank you.
I'm above the space station right now.
Above the space, yeah. So it's actually your fault now. So we're just going to keep blaming your Wi-Fi and not mine.
Oh, it's all me. It's the sun and the gamma radiation, and it's maybe the flat Earth. Who knows?
Oh yeah. It's looking pretty flat up there, is it?
I mean, like, I can't tell because I'm in the front of it, but I have to assume that it's flat if I were to look at it from the side.
Oh, that's all right. We do have a conspiracy segment at the end of the podcast, so feel free to leave that opinion to the end.
Oh, excellent. Do you still believe in the moon? Because I'd like to know before we start this.
No, that's...
Oh, thank God. Okay, you're one of the good ones.
That's so 2004, believing in the moon.
Oh, God. Yeah, and you're telling me.
I was just trying to remember how old you are. No, we are roughly the same age, so I can do some random memes and not feel too outdated, so it's a good start.
Well, I'm 23 years old, so hopefully.
Well, thank you again anyway, because this all started, like I said, this is a very new podcast, and I've just been interviewing friends so far. I thought I'd reach out to some bigger names eventually. I've only got 100 subs on YouTube. Subscribe, everyone. But so I randomly, my girlfriend sends me she's got to thank her for this whole thing. She Snapchats me something, I don't even have the screenshot. It's like, surely you get Kastro on Limited Time, I would actually listen to that. And I was like, is that a backhanded compliment?
It's insane to me that many people even know about who I am. Like, even hearing that I'm discussed in passing like that, it's something that I literally never dreamed would ever happen.
Well, that's what I was going to ask too, is, yeah, when you've been around for a while, people just know the names. People know Bricks, Booze, Rack, Spooky. Like, of course, they're designing things and people know them now, but there are genuine OGs out there that have been collecting for years and years and are followed by, like, I'm pretty sure the staff know who some people are.
Oh, definitely.
And that's what I was going to ask you. I'm like, how did you actually approach, because you didn't reply to it. You liked it. And I'm like, oh, they've liked it. And then I'm like, oh, okay, something could happen here. And then a couple of days later, suddenly I get a message from you going, let's get the message up anyway. Just reveal DMs. Where is it? Very professional part. So out of nowhere, hiya, I got the go-ahead to do an interview with you, if you're still interested, of course. So take me through, like, how you saw something, like you saw a random tweet about a podcast and then you've got to not email your boss. How does that all happen?
Well, it's less about emailing and more about, I have continuous DMs with all of the people that I work with. It's all a lot more casual than it really, I mean, like, of course it's a professional business workplace, but we're all really great friends, and it's really awesome being able to work with people that are so casual about, like, being open with each other and being like, hey, this person wants me to do a podcast with them. Would that be cool for me to do? And then being like, yeah, sure. Just don't talk about these specific things. Maybe, like, don't leak anything, obviously. And it's really nice to be able to ask him, hey, can I do this? And then get the go ahead. But I liked it because I wanted you to know that I'd seen it, because whenever someone tags me in something, I'm usually not tagged in that many things. And so if I'm tagged in something, I will always check it out or look at it. I most of the time do mute most conversations I'm tagged in, because if you tag Youtooz and then you also tag me because you're like, hey, I want to join this thing, or hey, Youtooz, do this idea, I'm not really going to be messaging Youtooz being like, hey, this person tagged me, just so you know, unless it's like the most baller concept I've ever seen. I'm just gonna mute the conversation, because otherwise I get like 60 like messages in my notifications that are just like, I second this, or yeah, that would be so cool, and then people doing reaction images for 4 hours straight.
Oh yeah, like,
so I just,
and you don't even have a blue tick too, so you don't have those perks of those professional. I don't even know what those perks are, but like, it makes complete sense to mute conversations, because it just, once you're, yeah, that's the weird thing about Twitter, is you're tagged and you're like, you see it and you're like, wow, that's great. And then everyone that replies to it, thousands, and you're like, oh
yeah.
God.
People really like to tag me whenever they buy a plushie, and I'm like so like gung-ho about that. I love seeing people hold their plushies up and like knowing that I got to design something and it's in someone else's house now. I'm like, that is so cool. That is literally the coolest thing ever. However, I do get a little bit like, that's why I mute the conversations or untag myself. It's not because I don't appreciate it. It's because otherwise I get 600 messages that are just like the Leonardo DiCaprio tilting his glass saying like, oh yeah, that's a great plush. And I'm like, okay, cool, I get it, thank you. But when I see posts like yours where you're saying like, oh, maybe Kastro could come do this thing, something that's specifically for me, I always check it out, and I always want to like make sure that like I give it the attention it deserves, because it's still crazy to me that enough people care about me to want to do this sort of thing with me, to want to talk to me, and to want to give me that kind of attention and motivation, honestly, to keep doing what I do. So I always want to make sure I give everyone as much of my time as I can, because I feel like it shows appreciation, you know, for being able to being deserving enough of having an audience like this.
You are so Canadian. That's so many Canadian values that you've just summed up there. I'm sure everyone just absolutely appreciates it. But yeah, we all know there's no mask. Kastro's just such a nice person.
Aww.
No, it's fine. Well, talking about this is not actually a voice reveal. That's what I got excited about. I'm like, oh, so now like my brain's running. I'm like, oh my God, Kastro's replied. Is this? And I'm like, wait, is this like a voice reveal? Because you know all the thumbnails and all that stuff. And then of course, like I forgot about the AMAs that you did on that, which is really good. The Youtooz YouTube. I don't know if you have any input there or help or you just jump on when you can.
I helped the AMAs. Todd runs all of those, and he answers all the questions. But for the one that we did that was recorded, I suggested doing it because I thought it would be good to like actually get to see a bit of the process. It was a bit wonky because it's the first one we've ever done, which is why I'm so quiet, is because I'm actually in the same room as Austin while he's like asking questions and stuff. But the mic is in front of him, and because we're in the same room, I can't have a mic also because that would be feedback. So I'm very, very quiet and sounds like I'm really shy, when in reality I'm very focused and I'm very far from the mic.
And now we've got such a professional mic in front of you right now, and we're both doing such a professional thing.
Yes.
So
yes, we are adults. I have to go to work today.
There's technically a budget. It's just because I can't use technology, so I got someone's got to edit this for me. So
I was going to say, is your budget your rent because you're recording out of your house?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. and I pay a UK editor, which is not the best currency for an Australian to pay. But no, me and Mop, again, someone that I don't know. I'm guessing you've picked up a lot of friends over the way. You just meet so many people that you might just have that casual interaction with, but there's people that obviously stick around, and you've been here for a few years now. It must be cool to see.
Yeah, it's coming up on 2 years now in September, mid-September, I believe. I definitely remember almost every single person that comments more than once. I mean, if they're like icons aren't enough, it's names like Mott, I definitely remember for sure. Like there's a ton of different names that I see come up and I'm like, oh, I know this person, or oh, this person always comments on my stuff. And it's just really nice to be able to see that I have like a dedicated fan base, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
people that
exactly.
want to keep coming back, it's always really nice to see.
Well, I think that's why the community segment will be really fun at the end, because I'll just be reading the names out and you'll be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And there is definitely some more personal questions, like they know your game and they know you do this and they know about your cats and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that'll be fun. And that's something I was doing anyway, but I knew, which is a notification moment for me too, because I put that tweet out and I think we got like 50 probably 50 to 60 replies across Instagram and Twitter. A lot of repeated. And this is the what I had to say before the podcast. Sorry, I wrote my questions on a time frame of, I thought we'd have maybe 30 to 60 minutes. So I wrote the questions down, everyone, and then I looked at everyone's questions. So if your question doesn't feature, it's just because I've wrote it myself. Sorry. So. Yeah, there'll be a lot of questions anyway for you to hear from me and other people too.
Here to answer all of them.
Yeah. Like you said, you took the afternoon off. For context, it's Kastro's Saturday and my Sunday morning, so I've had my coffee, I'm fine. And what have you been up to today anyway? You said, were you doing some shopping or something, or you're just busy?
Oh, I actually went to a convention. I was at a convention
cool.
this morning. Yeah, it's a Vancouver mini convention where it's basically just one big artist alley, and artist alleys are like my favorite thing to do. I absolutely adore going and like being able to buy all those charms and pins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My partner got a new desk mat from this one artist. It's so much fun. I'll probably like take a picture and then post it later on Twitter, and then there'll be a fun little Easter egg for people that listen to the podcast to be like, oh, that's where the picture's from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, post your shopping. It's cool to see anyway. I love giving back to artists, let alone those cool markets that everyone does and everything. It's so good. It's so
They're
fun.
so cool. So much fun.
Well, back to YouTube anyway. Is that actually, so you've done that? I thought that was really cool what you did in the AMA, just like popped in the corner, because you are an anonymous person or character. Is that what you, what do I refer you to as? Like, are we going to call you like a character or just call you as Kastro? How do you actually go about that?
Well, I like to be referred to as Kastro online, and I go pretty anonymously, and I don't really post any photos of myself, at least not my face or my body or anything, mostly just because I feel like people judge you a lot about how you look, even subconsciously, and I am of the mind that I feel like a person's character and the way that they choose to present themselves tells you a lot more about who they are and what their values are than what they look like. And I just I'd prefer people to look at me and see my art and my contribution and the work that I've done for Youtooz and being able to see all that stuff, rather than getting any comments, even if it's just one of like, oh, this person looks some way or this person looks another way. And especially as someone that's non-binary and who doesn't present entirely androgynously, it's really easy for people to look at that and misgender me or just to take things the wrong way. And plus I think it's more fun. It's more fun this way. I used to when I was younger in high school, I actually worked at Chuck E. Cheese. I was the mascot for a little bit, and it's just so much fun to just not awesome. Have a face for like 5 minutes, it's like the daily chore of being recognized and acknowledged as a human being when my ideal form is a cloud of dust floating through the air. I just don't want to be perceived as a human being, I just want to exist and be perceived for what I do and for who I am and not what I look like.
That's exactly right. You've put it very seriously well and very, in an entertainment base very well too. Like, it's just more fun. And I totally respect what you're doing. What have I done myself? Like, I'm kind of weighing that up at the moment, but it is, you want to be known for who you are and your values before, you've probably explained that a lot to people, and I couldn't have put it any better, really. But that's really interesting that you've that's one of my questions really was, have you always, like, it's not going to be the answer anyway, but so you've not always had to be an artist your whole life. I know that's like the dream job now, but what other jobs, was that the only one, or you were like, was that a good escape for you, I guess, being anonymous at the workplace too? Was it kind of, you're always doing art on the side and everything?
Well, that was more like when I was like 17, like out of high school, you know, you can't really do, I mean, like I could do commissions and stuff like that, but it was more just like, like I've worked at McDonald's, I've worked at like a grocery store for a little while, I worked at like a retail shop, like it's just the jobs that you have when you're in high school. I think Chuck E. Cheese was my favorite one though. I was the Gandalf, as I called it, because my job was to stand in front of the door and make sure no kids run out. And no and no adults get in.
You shall not pass.
Yeah, and my job was essentially to just stand there and like pull apart tickets to throw at children when Chuck E. Cheese came out and there was a birthday party, and to grab toddlers when they ran past me and huck them back into the ball pit.
Oh my god, that sounds fun though. Like it's physical.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
Something that's really funny too is that whenever I wore the mascot costume, first of all, those things are not cleaned well.
Oh no.
And mostly teenagers working there, so it wasn't a great smell, and they were also very both beaten up and slightly too small for me. And oh no, I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's just a funny story to have a Chuck E. Cheese suit that's slightly too small on someone who is AFAB, because it was essentially curvy Chuck E. Cheese coming and giving kids tickets because I wasn't exactly filling the costume the correct way.
Oh my god, you're hitting so many stereotypes, and it did not disappoint there.
I went to a fundraiser once, and I got to be the mascot for the fundraiser because they hired Chuck E. Cheese to come out and do it. And some kid handed me his Razor scooter and said, "Chucky, do a dab." And I just stared at him, and I took his scooter, and then I scootered around the school and came back and gave it back to him. And no one said shit because I was Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, you're a character. That's what Chucky would do, you know?
That's exactly what Chucky would do.
Yeah, you could just ruin the brand of Chuck E. Cheese by doing something worse, but... Oh my god. Well, how did you weigh up being when did you pick up the pen or the iPad? How long would you say you've tried to be? I know there's always like everyone's done art, it's sometimes compulsory, but when's your first memory when you think I can do this, I can make a job or a career out of this?
Well, I mean, like, I've been drawing literally my entire life, like, since I was a little kid. I used to be, like, the weird person in the corner of the class that was drawing cats 90% of the time. And it wasn't until, like, grade 8 that I started, like, I stopped using Invader Zim as, like, my anatomy practice and drawing square heads and the clawed fingers, and I actually, like, started really trying and, like, studying and working my ass off to like try and make it look like it wasn't Invader Zim, which is surprisingly difficult to go to Invader Zim and then come back from that. But I always really wanted to do something with art. I always felt like it was something that was really important to me. When I was younger, I thought that I really wanted to be an elementary school teacher. I actually really wanted to teach kindergarten to grade 3. And I was always like fantasizing about how I decorate my classroom and the drawings that I do with the kids, until eventually I kind of hit a point where I was like, wait, I'm like mostly thinking about what I'd get to draw.
Yeah, exactly. You put 2 and 2 together. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I actually went to school for animation because I really love the animation industry. My partner, he's actually a storyboard artist, and he works in animation as well. So we've got that in common.
He'd be flat out.
Oh yeah,
sorry,
I
just assumed.
He's amazing. Like, he is so good. He's a lot better than I am because I don't really have the attention span for animation, as it turns out, because I finished animation school and I went, fuck that. No, thank you. I'm done. I'm going to go do something else. So then I went to school for graphic design. I spent about 3 months unemployed-ish. I worked for my parent. My mom, she works at a finance company, so I just kind of did data input for a while, and I saw a listing for Youtooz, and I applied, and I was like, oh my god, they actually called me back. That's amazing. And that's how I got here.
And here you are. Wow. It's such a great story, like, always following your dreams. That's amazing.
I feel like I've been really lucky.
Oh, you got to have a bit of luck. Everyone has it. You just got to, yeah. You get, the universe gives you what you put into it. So is that what the saying is? Something like that.
You get out of it when you put into it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I want it to be. It's funny where you find those values around the dream. So you had the values of helping people, doing the art, but it kind of blended into helping people. I wanted to do teaching too, but now I do
Really?
support work, and it kind of all links. Like you found that link. You just got to try. I don't think anyone really finds it first go, but you kind of dabble
No.
into one thing, you find a little sidestep, and that leads on to the next thing, and eventually you get there. You just got there a little bit earlier, so yeah, credit to you.
I'm very lucky in that way. I feel like my entire life I've been very, very lucky. Like I can't overstate that enough to like be where I am right now, to have my job, to have my partner, my cats, obviously. I just every single day I just think about how lucky I am, and I always want to put that same positivity back out just to like I don't know, it feels like a waste to not take the goodness that I've been given in life and be able to share that back out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm not Christian or anything like that, but one of my favorite, it's treat others how you would like to be treated, really.
Yeah, exactly. I completely
That
agree. I'm not Christian either, but
like I don't know why that just stuck with me, and it just makes sense. Like I won't get as many messages as you would, but and I'm kind of a enclosed person and private person, but yeah, I just love this community. Is like you can be so positive and meet so many new people, and it's crazy to talk to people like yourself in Canada or the UK, the US, New Zealand, and stuff like that. I think we've got such a good platform now, and for years to
Oh
come,
yeah.
where it's not normal just to have a couple of friends down the road. We've got an abundance of people that we can always lean on and help. Always helping others is gonna, yeah, hopefully,
Exactly.
it bleeds off on them and they can do what you tried to do too. So, well, back to your job, because you'll be back to your job in a couple of days, I suppose. What is?
Oh, I'm always
what is
working.
yeah, always working, and I'm guessing your brain as an artist doesn't switch off on the weekends. Is that something?
No.
No, just
I wish.
always like something like a light bulb's always on. Well, take us through a day of a life of a Youtooz designer, I suppose. Or are you a routinic person, or is it? Yeah, I think a
Fairly
lot of people would be
routine.
interested.
This isn't the usual sort of way that designers do it at Youtooz. I'm the only plush designer currently, and plush works a little bit differently from vinyl because vinyl has a handful of artists and a bunch of like people that do all of their stuff for like the quality checks and the people that work on the 3D models or the boxes and stuff like that. But plush, it's me and then a couple of my production artists who I would die without because when I first started at Youtooz, it was just me. And I had to do the designs and the final files and the packaging and every single part of the job, and it was a lot. So thankfully, we got some production artists to help me out. So I do the designs, they do the final files, the turnarounds, everything like that. Of course, I still help whenever they need it, but it's been really nice to be able to do my new daily routine, which is the workday starts at 10 o'clock, but I'm usually online at 9:30 to do a warm-up just to get my hands going and to like kind of get my wrist movement going and like to get myself used to it. And I usually just draw
That's
like
cool.
some like little things for me and my partner, just like little in-jokes between our characters and stuff like that. Or I just work on like line art for something that I was working on the previous day. Or sketches for illustrations that you see posted on Twitter, because those are mine as well. And then we have a meeting in the morning, and then after the meeting I get started. I usually don't get fully ramped up into the day till like 10:30. I'm usually like working on sketches or checking the plush feedback, because we get a lot of feedback every day back from the factories about how our most recent samples are doing. Like, is the stitch work correct, or did they get the face shape right? And we have our production artists, which I'm so thankful for, working on. I'll point out some things that I noticed that are off about it based on what my concept was and based on what we want it to look like. And then my production artists will make a feedback sheet for them. And a lot of times they'll add stuff that they notice that I missed, which I'm also very thankful for, because with so many plushies that are always in the works, like at least 10 to 20 at any given time, and that's like on a slow day, it's nice to be able to have people notice stuff for you if you missed it. Because otherwise
Oh, of
I'd be
course.
I'd just be freaking out all the time that I'm constantly forgetting something, because I don't have an awesome memory, especially when it comes to the hundreds of plushies we're working on.
You're still wondering if if the oven's not on.
Yeah, literally. So I usually get pretty focused into my work until about like 1 o'clock. I try to go for a walk around 1 o'clock just to, get my like blood moving again. But if I'm being entirely honest, that usually doesn't happen just because I'm so focused in on my work that I have a hard time pulling away. And then it's back to the grindstone yet again, just working on concepts or helping with feedback. Or sometimes illustrations, but more often it's concepts, and then putting together the official documents and PDFs to give to, say, for example, like IPs that we've been working with. We like to make them nice, big, full PDFs to be able to be like, hey, here are all your options. Here are all the cool stuff we can make you. Isn't this so professional and cool looking?
In HD.
In HD, and with lots of little doodles, because I did that one time on the side margins of the PDF, and they were like, these are sick, we love these. So now every time I do a PDF, I have to do like 20 different doodles on the sides, and it makes it take so much longer, but it looks so much better.
Well, it's so much more personal. It's professional and personal at the same time. I think that's
exactly.
I think that's why you guys have got a lot of fans. So, and fans that will stick around, and creators that will come back. Like, I've got so many questions about that, but like, you guys are, I say you guys because Youtooz, when I sent you the community questions, you said, there's actually no office related stuff I can help you with, blah, 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 because obviously the pandemic, and you guys were so fresh during, just before the pandemic. You've normalized, you guys are the generation working from home. Could you imagine it any other way? Or do you think this is the norm for artists create? Like, you don't need an office, you've got your own thing yourself.
Well, we used to have an office, and I've actually been to it a couple of times. It was really great, like Youtooz everywhere, just like you'd imagine, and it was really cool to see. But I definitely can't imagine working anywhere but from home. It's just being able to like focus, because I can't imagine myself being able to focus as well as I do at home, as if I had like 4 or 5 people like walking behind me in the background or like looking over my shoulder. It's for me personally, at least, and the way that I have my workflow set up, it's a lot easier to be able to work from home and be able to take a rest when I need it, or like to hunker down when I need it, like not being interrupted by other people. But at the same time, eventually I would like to be able to see us have an office again, obviously, just because like the novelty of being able to see everyone you work with and being able to see like all the Youtooz everywhere. If anyone saw like the pictures from the Youtooz Christmas party last year, like the Christmas trees that were made out of Youtooz, it's so cool to like be reminded, the thing that I work for is like a physical, real thing. Like, it's an office full of people that work for it. It exists. It's real. I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Wake up, Kastro.
Kastro, please, God. It's been 64 years, please.
Your cats have been trying to tell you something for a long time.
You'll notice how much I play Minecraft, because I just set a stack of years, 64 years.
Oh my God. Well, I think that, we'll be debating this at a government level for so many years, where people will be forced to go back to offices. There's mental health that goes with that too, and added costs and everything. And I think that's just another positive of who you work for. It's more this generation of workforce, if you know what I'm trying to lean towards.
Absolutely. I just think it's up to personal choice. Like, I'd love to be able to have a physical office to come in like once a week or once every couple of weeks to like check in. I know there's some people that work better in an office environment, and like I don't work better in an office environment, but I'd still love to have the option and like the physical space for like, say, important meetings, or like just stuff, or like being able to come in and like have the samples delivered there so I can take a look at them, just that kind of thing. I definitely would not want to work in an office 100% of the time though, especially because I live kind of more in the suburbs area, and it would be like an hour commute there every morning, an hour commute back. I just can't imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine being punished for where you live. You love where you live. Let's just put words in your mouth and say you love where you live. But then
I do love where I live.
Yeah, and then your job is an hour away. Oh, that's your problem. what it used to be 20 years ago or 10 years ago, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I can imagine how hard it would have been to be an artist or just, you know, those travelling commuters. Like, you know, Melbourne, Australia, I'm guessing. Like, it's
Yeah.
our capital cities, I mean. It's just, oh, I can't believe it when I go there for holidays every now and then during the weekday, and it's just people crammed into trains. I think, like, 2 hours of their day, usually, is just travelling to go to work.
I know, it's crazy.
Some people might love it, but I think hybrid jobs will be so important going forward. Like my housemate that walked in before, he has a, let's just call it hybrid. He does once a week visit to the office and 4 days from home, and he absolutely loves it. I think that's a good.
Yeah.
He gets to know his boss and know the people for one day, 50 days a week, and while the other 4 he really cracks down and gets, he knows he likes his job too, so the work's always going to get done. So yeah
I mean, I feel like it gets you to like that level where you understand your like colleagues and you know them and you get to make friends, but at the same time get the work done the other 4 days.
Hello, visitor.
Sorry, that was my partner. He had to move he had to move Wolfie to the bedroom because Wolfie was
Get him on the pod.
Maybe next time. Maybe we'll get Wolfie and Tizzy on here too.
No, that's all right. Sorry, I'm just being cheeky. But this is a bit of a normie question. How many? This is pretty vague. But what are you working on? You don't have to say like what. How many pieces are you working on right now? Are you trying to like back to that routine thing? I guess routine goes out the window when work's there to be done. How many pieces do you think you juggle a week or a day, I suppose?
Ah, jeepers creepers. I can't even put a number on it, I don't think, just because, like, a day, at least 10 concepts, and then that's juggled between, if it's a day where I'm working on a PDF for, like, an IP, that's at least 20, and if it's a day where, like, I'm working on an illustration, I might only get 5 done because I'm spending the whole day on the illustration. But in the same, like, vein, some days I have to do, like, up to 30, and then other days it's, like, mostly feedback. It just, I don't really have much of a routine besides labeling it as work, whereas a lot of other people have a lot more of a secure, like, like, today you're going to be working on Boss Baby, and then tomorrow you're going to work on Banjo-Kazooie. I don't really have that because as,
Boss
like...
Baby.
Just as an example, I don't know why that would be the first one to come to my mind today of all days.
Because it's such a good one, obviously, that the community definitely loves.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, my boss sure seems to think so.
Yeah.
It's definitely his favorite, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, no bias. No, it just...
None whatsoever. I'm glad I spent 5 hours yesterday on that drawing.
Oh, true. No, well, that's the thing that you have, I guess, that you've noticed the difference in and I guess you embrace it, more work the better. Okay, guys, we know that Kastro's crazy busy. That answers that question. But there's been a difference, obviously, in the last couple of years between, what do we call it? You know, the business deals, like your movies, what do we call that type of stuff? You know, when you used to just focus on creators a little bit more a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Have you back then you said you were the only plush designer. Has your team grown to catch up with demand, I suppose, in the last couple of years, or?
It's grown a little bit, but mostly it's just a team of really dedicated artists, and that's something that a lot of people forget, is that there isn't just like one artist at Youtooz, or it's like a board of CEOs. It's a team of like really dedicated artists and people who like really love their jobs and really love the IPs and the creators they get to work with. And so when we're pulling in all of these IPs now and all these creators, and we're doing a lot more than we had before, it's really just a matter of us ramping up production, and like we're learning how to do it faster, more efficiently, and like get those products to people as fast as we can and as high of quality as we can, and hopefully looking as good as they can. It's really, I feel like, a matter of like the more you do something, the better you get at it. The more Youtooz spends on being Youtooz, the better at Youtooz gets.
Oh, exactly. And I'm just apologising because I've completely run off the run sheet, because that's what I do every recording. You're doing amazing. You're giving me... this is so fun. I'm
it is really
anyway.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm having fun too, don't worry.
Yeah, you're not working. That's the main thing. I don't want you to feel like you're working. So
No, I feel very much like a celebrity right now, and I'm having a lot
a
of fun.
celebrity for my 100 subscribers. Oh. Well, can you believe it's been, like you said, it's nearly been 2 years. I swear that's flown. We scroll back on the Instagram, September 17, 2020, you posted about acquiring your dream job at Youtooz. Yeah, is it flown? Does it feel like a dream still?
It feels more and more real at this point because I've been working so hard, and I've been working here for like 2 years, which for someone with ADHD like me, that's forever. Like, that is eternity for me. I can't imagine working anywhere else. I'm having so much fun. I love the people I work with. I love what I get to work on, boss baby included. I really love what I do, and every single day I get to wake up and do it feels like a blessing. I'm always like, my anxiety always tells me I'm gonna wake up one day and it's gonna be like, oh hey, we found someone else that's better at it than you are, you're fired. Obviously that's not gonna happen, but it's always like in the back of my mind, if this is too good to be true, because it's so much fun. I couldn't have articulated it when I was a kid, but being a plush designer, are you kidding me? I used to have, do you know what webkins are?
Well, I've got a couple of questions about plushies in general, because I know you're a massive fan. Let's go scrolling back. Here we go. Because scrolling back on your Instagram, Instagram. Scrolling back on your Instagram, we can see a Kastro design you sent off to Budsy. Do you still have that plush? And
oh god, yeah, I do. It's really ugly.
Oh, you should send me a photo of it. That would be a cool thing to put on the podcast.
I will definitely send you a photo of that. Just remind me. And then I'll put it next to the Kastro plush that's dropping on July 13th, and we'll see which one is better.
The old one versus the new one, but that's going back to your character. But yeah, so tell me, you were leading into that. Sorry, what about your I don't know about these companies that you're going to bring up, but you go off on a tangent. Don't mind me.
Well, I was just talking about webkins, which I used to be super into. I think I had like 150 webkins. They were like these little plushies, and they had a little code that would come with them, and you plug them into an online game, and your little plushie would be like a little online character in the game. And I was obsessed with it, literally obsessed. Every time me and my mom went out, if we ever saw webkins, she would get it for me, and my Christmas and my birthdays would just be filled entirely with webkins and plushies, and just, I've always been a really big fan of them, and I've always collected them. You should see the state of our apartment. It is 90% plushies. I remember my partner when we first moved in was, hey, should we maybe decorate with something that isn't plushies? And I went, my job is literally a plush designer, so you tell me how you think that's gonna work out. And he went, yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, that's the crazy. I just Googled it. Yeah, that's really cool. How big was that? That was such a big thing when we were growing up. There's a physical product, but it tries to bring us online or to our Nintendo or something. Yeah,
I miss them. They were so cool.
Like, I remember there's things called scanners. You used to scan barcodes anywhere, and it would be like a dead barcode, or a monster would appear from the barcode. And I was like, that was the coolest thing ever.
I remember those. I remember a kid in my class had them, and I was like, you need to give that to me right now. That's mine. I own that now.
Yeah. Well, I was just looking after, my dogs and on the DS. That was all I was doing as a kid, basically.
Oh, man, I love Nintendogs. That was so fun.
Now, here's an even harder question for you.
Oof, give it to me.
You've been working for nearly 2 years. How many plushies do you think you've designed in that time? Officially.
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 I don't know if I can really name how many I've worked on officially, as in, like, because when you work on so many concepts that are either rejected or reworked a million times, and each one is like a new concept, I can't really differentiate how many, like, it's a fraction of what's on the site. At this point, like, everyone knows, like, every single plushie that's out there, like 90% of every plushie that's up there, I've designed. I mean, there's a few that I didn't work on because it was from before I was hired, or I reworked it, but it's not my design because the person that designed it isn't with Youtooz anymore, or they designed it before I was hired. So like one's like Anomaly plush bag. The original J Schlatt I didn't design. Rami, the original Rami was someone else. And then I've kind of redesigned it a bit and like workshopped it a bit. And obviously you've seen how many Ramis have come out, and I've made a bunch of stuff of my own, just to kind of, I don't know, make it more my style. Just because if I'm gonna be the one doing it, you know,
you got to put your flair on it.
Gotta put a little Kastro flair on it. Gotta put a little mustard on it.
I'm a mustard person. It's all right. I'll let you have it.
Gotta put a little Hellman's on there. Yeah, no, I actually just recently, funny story, I'm backing up all of my concepts right now because I keep every single one on my iPad just in case someone, for example, like on the marketing team is like, hey, do you have this concept that you worked on a year and a half ago that you haven't touched since? And I'll be like, let me check for you. And then probably I do, because I don't want to get rid of anything, because in the beginning I used to delete them the second they were approved. And then I realized very, very quickly that that was a really stupid idea and that I should maybe keep them for a while longer than that. So I've been uploading them all to Dropbox. They're still not all finally uploaded, but it's over 3,000 concepts.
I knew it. I knew you would have kept everything, or tried to. You are now. I've like physical art. Like
I try to
Tuesday
keep it very organized.
Yeah, like Tuesday on our last episode has kept everything. And I think that's so cool, just to scroll. Sorry, clear my throat. You'll be able to scroll back on your iPad. They'll be able to scroll back in their folders. I think that'll be a cool thing to reminisce about in a few years, where you go, wow, okay, it might take you a while going through 3,000. Maybe you can just favorite a few or something. But yeah, I think that's really important for an artist to always like see where they've come from, I suppose.
Yeah, I've definitely improved a lot, even in the short amount of time. Like, even in 2 years, like, looking back at my first plushie design, which was the No Brush Cute, I've really improved a lot. I just think that, like, being able to draw every single day, even if I'm drawing very similar looking things, the act alone of drawing every single day helps you improve a lot. And even though I am a professional artist, you never stop growing. Like, you never stop learning and like getting better and better. And something embarrassing about No Brush Cute is the eyes. The eyes are not technically Youtooz eyes because I freehanded them because it was the first design I ever did. And I still feel guilty about it because they're not technically Youtooz eyes. They are little sausages that are on his face.
Yeah, true. I can't remember if I know this is bad to say, like, I collect so many, and even I can't remember back then too. That's a while ago. I've got to apologize to you too, because I'm more of a figure collector because I don't have the space for any plushies. So I'm getting you on and like not respecting
Traitor.
Traitor, exactly.
J'accuse.
Well, it must be crazy to see someone like Brix's collection of plushies, where it's cool. It must be cool to see like everywhere. I guess people have got like, you must have seen collections where people have a bookshelf and they can unpack them and stuff like that. Must be pretty cool to see people's plushies starting to stack up now after all the years.
Oh, absolutely. It's insane to like be able to see through those collections, just how many I've done, because I know that obviously nobody's going to be able to collect them all. I've done a lot. But just being able to see how many people have collected so many of them just because they think that they like the design, just because they like how it looks, not even necessarily about the creator, but something that I think actually makes me feel more like I'm oh my God, I'm doing something. Oh my God, I'm making something that people like, is ones where it's people with their plush just in their daily lives. You know, like I'll see people take pictures of their Slimesicle plushies with their dogs, or their Rami is on like their desk with them while they're working on homework or something like that, and or with them while they eat dinner and something like that. It's just so, it's simple, but it really drives home for me that these are real people and they're living their own individual lives that I don't know anything about, but in some way I've managed to be a part of it, and I've managed to give them something that they'll hopefully find joy in, and they'll be able to look at and think, oh, there's the creator that I love. Oh, this thing I'm gonna have it for my life, and I'm gonna be able to look at it and think about the good times I have, even if I'm not necessarily interested in the creator anymore. It reminds me of a time that I was really happy, and I was really glad to be able to have something to remind me of that. And it's a nice feeling to know that I get to bring that kind of joy to people.
Oh, definitely. I think it's a memory is a really important thing. Yeah, even being older, I don't think I'll sell. You see people leaving all the time, and like they're selling everything. I could never do that. I reckon like a lot, like some are giveaways officially, and some are giveaways through friends, and some are just like caffeinated ram is just like the best thing ever, because it's got my name on it. So the orange ram, and like there's some that I just never sell. There's so many good memories that that the monetary value you don't even care about now. So yeah, I think you're dead right, and it must be so cool to like you said, to see your work physically on a shelf. That's the cool thing.
Definitely.
Well, what you said was when you can't really put your name, like you've got like 3,000 designs. What do you think I guess this is another hard question, but how many of those, what's a good way to put it? What makes things, I guess what you've learnt over the time, and you say you get better, what makes a plushie too complicated that you might get pushback for? Like, has there been things where you think you've designed something absolutely crazy, but the physical attributes to it come back and go, you can't do that, and you've had to simplify things?
The worst thing, the thing that always haunts me is anime hair. That is the worst thing, hands down, to try and make a plush, because it's just so complicated. It looks different from every angle. There's no perfect concrete way to do it. Everybody usually does that thing where it's like a single layer like haloed around the head of the shape of the hair, and I don't know, it feels like a cop-out to me, or at least it did before I started working in plush, and now it's like, I get it. I get why you did it that way. The other way is hard. It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Everything else, though, I mean, I'm a very tricky person. I'm very, the factory will come back and be like, we can't do this. And I'll be like, yes, you can. And I will send 6 or 7 photos of someone else who did plushies that way. And I'll be like,
true.
Try again, Buster.
Yeah. Buster.
Yeah, my biggest secret weapon right now is sublimated minky, which is basically like the same minky that we have with everything, but it's printed onto, and it's a little bit rougher than normal minky, but like it gets those patterns on there that you need. For example, like if we have a plushie like what's a good one? Usually for ones like, say for example, the barista Rammy, it has that little drizzle of chocolate sauce on top. Normally something like that, if it were flat, we would make it embroidered, but if it's really, really small or it's like too complicated, we do sublimated minky, because if you do too much embroidery, it's not as soft, it starts to get really hard. Or if you do like applique, it's gonna get hard as well, because it has to be firm in order to handle that amount of stitches. So sublimated minky is my favorite trick to use, because it's almost as soft as normal minky, and it looks great. It gets all the detail in there. You really look at it and you're like, wow, it's so accurate. And it's like, haha, it's easier to do because all we had to do was print.
I love that you don't back down from the warehouse. Like, it's your pride on the line too. And it makes total sense when there's so many art over the years and plushies, and like literally the Pokemon Center. Like when I saw Youtooz doing plushies, I was like, this is a guaranteed success.
Everyone loves plushies.
Everyone. You should see my girlfriend's bed with all those squishmallows and plushies and.
I for one would love to see your girlfriend's bed.
Okay, I'll put it on the screen. No,
I'm just kidding.
There's not enough room for me to sleep.
Well, there won't be when I'm in there with her.
I was just rolling my eyes with all the junk that I've had to go, like, shove off the bed just to get in sometimes.
Squishmallows are so good to sleep on, though. You should try using one as a pillow next time.
Oh, I have a comfort cuddle. Like, I like to put it on my belly and like hug it, like when I'm watching a TV show and stuff. I don't know. Pillows just don't do it anymore. So
Yeah, no,
cushions, I mean.
I get that. Whenever I'm watching TV, I've got this giant Snorlax plushie that I lean against.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, yeah, and you're a big Pokemon fan as well.
Oh yeah, that. Huge Pokemon fan.
Yeah, we've got plenty of Pokemon questions at the end. Well, what else have I got here? I've got now. I may be pressing for too much information here. You've had the heads up on this, but how does it feel? How is it to work with such famous YouTubers and content creators? Could you give us an insight to how a plushie is brought to life with so many parties involved, obviously?
Well, that's the thing, is that I actually don't really talk to anybody, like any of the creators or any of the IPs directly. My boss is the one that he messages back and forth, like he's the messenger. We like jokingly say that like he's the little pigeon that we send back and forth with messages, just because having it go through one person makes it a lot less complicated, and it makes it a lot easier to make sure that every single person on the team is on the same page. It also keeps me out of the line of fire in case there's, say for example, me pushing back on something. Say a creator is like, oh, I want there to be this on the plush, and I'm like, I think that would look like it sucks. And then my boss is the one that's able to take the heat and be like, the designer says that they think it would suck, and then they can be like, okay, well, if the designer says that, because it sounds a lot more professional for someone to say the designer thinks that this sucks, instead of me going, dude, this blows, I don't like this at all.
That makes complete sense as well.
The only person I've gotten to connect with really is Michael McChill, which has been really awesome. He's a great guy.
Oh, that's great then.
Yeah.
It's good to... Yeah, it must be good to, like... I don't know if you're a fan of their content and stuff, but it must be cool to... Well, I guess people today, like, when they listen to this, they're like, wow, Kastro's really cool on Twitter. I love their plushies. And they're a good person. It's like... people say don't meet your heroes. It's terrifying, isn't it? So, no, I'm sure... Yeah, no, that's really cool. And it protects you as an employee too. Mm-hmm. Like... Yeah, that makes complete sense. Just like a normal workplace where I was a manager in my old job and I would take all the heat on my choice to protect the younger people and you don't have to have messages go through multiple people. And I guess when the boss sends it off, it looks like the whole team, like imagine getting, that does make a lot of sense. Imagine you're a content creator and you're just you're busy putting out all this stuff and you got like 5 people messaging you and you're like, wait, no. Someone's already sent me that. What's going on here?
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah. So,
it makes it a lot easier because then the creators are not getting, oh, hey, Austin Long messaged you or someone else messaged you or something like that. It's just, oh, Youtooz has said that this is ready or Youtooz has said that this... It's a unified front, and it like makes sure that we get out the final product to them instead of 16 different levels of the pre-production that we deal with, because we don't really... For Plush, at least, I don't really know how it is on the vinyl side. I think that they walk them through every step of the way on the vinyl side, but for the Plush team, you don't really want to see the samples that aren't approved because with vinyl, there's a 3D model, and then they print that model, and then the mistakes that happen are errors that are like, oh, something broke off, or oh, something's not quite as smooth here as it could be when it's painted. But for Plush, this first sample came back, and it looks like maybe the worst thing I've ever seen. And then we have to do 6 different revision cycles back and forth to make sure it looks as good as possible, like for what the fans like deserve, you know? And to make sure that it's up to our standards and our quality level. And thankfully the factory always gets there in the end, but it's hard for them to visualize what's in my head, you know? So I make sure that that they understand.
Yeah. Me and Kastro just had a drinks break, but we forgot what we were talking about. So,
ADHD
what I really should do, I know, so professional. What I really should do is please tell me everything about your plushie. How many numbers? How many stock is there?
I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I don't know.
That is fun.
I know that it's definitely less than 500. So it's like extremely exclusive, very limited, very small.
I can't even believe you let us know that. 500. Okay, that's cool.
Less than.
No, I think well, how did it, did you approach them? Have you been, or is this kind of like a reward from Youtooz? Did they come out of nowhere and say, you're going to get your own plush? Like, how did it actually happen? Like, there's obviously thousands hundreds of designs of your own character, so there's no art to go with it. So
Well, it was really more like back when I think it was like 6 months into starting to work with Youtooz. I wanted to start posting about it because I loved working there so much, and I wanted to be able to talk about it, just like be able to share how much I enjoy my job and like all the stuff that I get to do every day. It was just something that I really wanted to be able to talk about because I hadn't seen really anyone besides Todd. Again, him because he's the social media manager. Of course, he gets to talk about it, I didn't really see anyone else doing it, and so I started talking on my Twitter and stuff like that, and then my boss messaged me and was like, "Hey, what you doing?" And I was like, I'm talking on my Twitter about my job." And they're like, "Cool. So we should probably run you through a couple of guidelines first on how to not make our company look bad." And I was like, "That makes sense. I'm so sorry." But a little while like into it, like it's all cool now, obviously. Like, and it was never not cool to begin with. They just wanted to make sure that like everything was like, brand safe, because I'm really representing the company doing this. Being able to like talk about it and like be a person who works for the company. It's basically, they were a little bit worried because it puts me under fire. Like, for example, when allegations come out that like, oh, this design is stolen, there's always a chance that like, even though it isn't, people will come to me and send me nasty messages, which they have done in the past. Like, nothing insane, but like, just, you to steal stuff, and then it's very pointed at me, and it's like, oh, they don't, but okay, cool. And they just wanted to make sure that I'd be okay with taking on that kind of responsibility and like being able to handle that kind of pressure. And now it's like, whatever, I'm used to it at this point. I'm like used to handling the pressure of like, there are so many tweets that I think about in my head and I think this would be funny to post. And then I think, but would it be funny for a brand to post? And then I think probably not like the greatest thing for a brand to post. So at some point I had drawn my little Kastro concept just for fun, just because like I never even thought that they'd see it, because they do look at my Twitter account sometimes just for fun, because we're like all friends there. And he messaged me at one point and he said, "Hey, you've been doing great. We're like really proud of like everything that you've been doing, really happy with everything you've been doing. We'll make you a Kastro plush. It was just going to be one just for me." And I said, "Sick." And I drew up a design and I said, "I would like this at 2 feet tall, please," because sitting down at 2 feet tall, that would make it the canonical Kastro height, which is 3.5 feet tall. But I eventually started gaining a bit of a following with like everybody wanting to like know, "Hey, what's it like working at Youtooz?" Or, "Hey, we really love your designs." And eventually got to the point where people wanted the Kastro plush. And so my boss was like, "Hey, did you want to do like a limited run of this?" And I said, "Heck yeah, I do." And so we ended up settling on like a 6-inch Kastro plush that now more people get to have. And that makes me so excited, that the idea of somebody knowing me enough and thinking that I'm cool enough, I guess, to want to buy me. And I just think that's really awesome.
That is so cool. Like, let alone thinking that you're going to have something just for yourself, and then suddenly there's like 500 of them in the world.
I know. They're taking over my ship.
Like, I used to buy things because they were limited. Like, back to the figures, I used to buy anything that was close to selling out or what I thought would be valuable. But yours is going to be guaranteed fans. Like, it's just going to be so cool. Like, all these purchases, no doubt, there's going to be an Instagram tag, there's going to be a post, "My Kastro came." While, yeah, like one of the hundreds of figures that I have, I've never posted about because it's not meaningful to me. Like, this is just going to be so cool to see how many fans you have out there. Yeah, like you've got, I think you got 500 on Twitter and 9,000 on TikTok. Like, that blew up.
I know. Oh my God, that was so scary. It was terrifying. Oh my God, I was so scared that people were going to start like being awful to me. And like, there were a couple people in the comments that were like a little rude or a little, "That's sus, I don't believe that." And I was like, okay, well, you know what? At this point, I have said it so many times, and I've said, I work on all the plush designs, and I think a lot of people can vouch for the fact that I'm not a liar. I worked on all of them. I designed them all. I promise that any similarity is just a coincidence. if they don't believe it at this point, it's because they don't want to believe it, and nothing's going to change their mind. So there's no point in doing anything about it.
It's the deadest meme that Twitter.
I know.
I think we're in such a safe place on Twitter, like me and your community. Like, a lot of people complain about it, but if you go searching, it's bad.
Oh yeah, it's mean. It's like mean. Like we posted the Midnight Rammy, which is one of my favorite designs, and I actually had to like push for. I was like, please let us make this. It is such a cool design, and it is so fun and artsy and fresh, and the goth girls will love it. Please.
Yeah.
I was just so excited for it. I thought it was the coolest design ever. And then it finally came out and people were like, oh, this looks like garbage. Oh, what's up with the chest hair? And it's like, okay, well, I think you're just saying that to be mean. There's no way this many people dislike a cute little midnight themed ram. Come on.
No, I can't believe, like I said, I'm a limited buyer of plushies because of space and everything. And because I've got to wake up at 5 a.m. to get Youtooz drops, and
dedication.
we know which ones are limited and stuff. So yeah, I completely missed that, and I was like, shit. But I have enough, I think, anyway. But yeah, no, that was awesome. I can't believe there was backlash on that one. That's so weird.
I know. It was mostly like, it was very obvious that it wasn't like real backlash. Like, because I went in, I always check out the quote tweets of plushies that I work on, because, you know, like I'm an egotistical person. I want to see what people think of my designs. I like saw in one of the people's retweets that like, they were like, oh, this is so ugly. And then someone in the comments was like, I don't know, I think it's kind of cute. And they're like, yeah, I know it's cute, but it's Youtooz, so I don't like it. And it's like, okay.
Oh, my God.
Well, that's mean. You know, someone actually worked on these.
Oh, God, it's like you're reading my Twitter feed out loud. It's giving me PTSD.
Giving me a headache.
No, you must see some warriors like Goldie, and you must see some absolute champions that go into the Twitter feed and fight for you.
Yeah. I definitely do. I don't know what their Reddit username is, if they even have one, but it's someone that's like named Lapis Peridot or something. I see them tag me a lot in stuff where they're like, no, it's actually at Kastrology, and I'm like, thank you. Like, I do not mind being tagged at all in those sorts of things, because it allows the people who don't know or understand the controversy to be able to go to my Twitter page and be able to like see my stuff and see the kind of person I am, and like realize, oh, there's a real artist behind these things. It's not just like a randomly generated image from a company. Like, it's a real person, and like everybody that works at Youtooz is a real person that's working on stuff that they really care about, you know? And it hurts my heart sometimes, you know?
Oh, definitely. You need a because Youtooz aren't going to have a Wikipedia anytime soon, so they need the Twitter warriors to come into bat for you. It's really good. You see people actually, it's so easy to hate, but it's so much harder for a normal person like myself to go. It's a lot more effort for me to go to type those massive characters and go, oh, guys, we've talked about this.
It's been discussed.
Guys, we've talked about this 60 times already. Because someone will give up the first time, like they've done their enrollment in the war. So yeah, we can't commend those guys enough for I suppose not. I'm
very thankful for it. It's nice to be able to see, because you know, you get new people coming into the fandoms and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, Youtooz is bad. I heard someone say it's bad, and then someone who's very much against Youtooz will pop in and they'll be like, yes, Youtooz is terrible. Hate them. You should hate them. And because it's easier to hate than it is to like, it's very easy for people who are misinformed to be like, okay, well, I hate them now. No matter what anybody says, no matter what, they'll just be trying to trick me because I hate them. And it's very hard to convince them that they were wrong.
Well, you've obviously gone through the ups and downs of social media. Like, is there any lessons you've learnt along the way? Like, you've had to defend yourself a lot. How important have you found social media in general to promote your art? I know it's been important in the last couple of years, but do you think that helped you, like being active online with like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram? It's like a mini resume these days.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, I would say that, it's really, really important for artists trying to get out there to post a lot on social media and to try and like, unfortunately, like I work mostly in original stuff, like original characters and things like that. I don't make much fan art anymore. Like I did a lot when I was younger, but now I just can't, you know, like when I do have the free time to draw my own stuff, I want to draw my stuff. 'Cause my day job is drawing fan art essentially. It's definitely hard to be able to, I completely lost my train of thought. I just watched it careen off a cliff. Sorry. What was the question?
How important social media is for an artist.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I like
You're
watched
fine.
it take a bunch of orphans off a cliff with that train of thought. I'm a big advocate of, yes, social media is so important for getting your art out there, but I also think it's not fair to most artists because, I mean, it takes so much energy and so much effort, and you have to post every single day, and you have to get all the tags right. And I feel like it should just be able to be, you post your art, people that like it come and they get to see it and they like it. But unfortunately, the way that algorithms work for a lot of social media is it's quantity over quality, and they want to see a lot of stuff. So I'd say building up your base slowly is the best way that you can get fans that are loyal and that want to stay. Like, I don't post art a lot. Like, I don't post it a ton, which I probably should do more of if I'm being honest. I just don't have the time or the energy, really. But my fans, if I can call them that, wow, if it feels egotistical to even call them fans. My followers, I feel like I've gained them really slowly over time because I don't really post anything but the stuff that I want to draw. I don't cater to anybody. I don't try to make fan art for something that's like trending just to get people to look at my art. And I feel like that's the way to get fans and followers that are going to stay with you no matter what. Because if you just work on art that's trending, you're going to get like 6 or 7 drawings done of, say, like if Jay Schlatt is trending and you draw Jay Schlatt 100 times while he's trending, you're not going to get those followers to stay once you start drawing for the next thing, you know, because they're like, oh, well, I followed for Jay Schlatt, not for this. So if you draw stuff that you enjoy drawing or something that you're genuinely really interested in and you want to work with and want to draw, you're going to, you know, attract like-minded people. And I think that that's a lot more important than having a big follower count.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Like, that's, I think we've had Sleepy on, Tuesday, all artists, and everyone's aware of the algorithm. Like,
oh, yeah.
The moral compass of, it's amazing, isn't it? Like, it's just like YouTube. It's just like any new generation job. Like,
it's
the
always
funny thing
going.
is, like, everyone's got it. Like, Thor, this is random, but like Thor 4 came out and Chris Hemsworth obviously jumped on TikTok. He's got no idea that was created. Like, it's so important to, like, everyone just media dumps now, and you can just tell who the genuine people are over just who's just grabbing that paycheck and stuff. It was so funny. Like, he was doing this interview and he's like looking at his son. He's like, I have TikTok. He's got like 600,000 followers.
That's so funny.
It's so funny. I guess that advice, that's amazing for art. I think just stick to your passions. Like, that's what it's not like big world or anything, but like like, you know, that like people have retired from collecting and they went away from the community. I don't think I could do that. That's why I wanted to do something like I listen to like 3 to 4 podcasts a day. Like, I don't have that ADHD, but I don't like being in silence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, no one wants to just sit in complete quiet while they work.
Yeah, I just can't do that. So I'm just always listening to stuff. You'll run out of music, but podcasts you never run out of. And yeah, that's the route I wanted to take. It's a way less popular route, but it's, I'm mid-20s. I don't care anymore what people think about, the likes and stuff like that. It's amazing how you, mature and grow over the time.
Just like what you want to like. Like, I am an adult who has a house full of pop culture and, like, video game stuff and cartoons and plushies and animals and stuff like that, and I don't have any intention of changing that. It's who I want to be, and it's how I want to spend my grown-up money, and it's the life I've always wanted to live, and I'm lucky to get to be able to do that, like, where I live, and I'm, like, privileged enough to have the money to do it and to have the safety to be able to do it. So I just want to, I mean, we're only here for so long, you know, like I'd rather enjoy my life and be able to enjoy the stuff that I want to enjoy rather than worry about what other people think about it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. You're so switched on.
I'm very keyed in, you know?
Keyed in, that's a good term. Switched on, keyed in. Oh, that's awesome. What I haven't talked about, because I actually think it's going to be hard to buy your plushie. It might go in an hour or two. Who knows? Could go in
honestly, I don't know. That's the thing is that, like, I know that there's definitely at least a dozen people that really want it, but 500, less than 500. Well, here's the thing, is that I can't, like, you always get those people that are like, oh, I'm definitely going to buy it, but then they don't. But then there's also people who I don't know, or they don't message, or they don't talk, and I've never seen them, but they're like, they stalk my account or something, and they are definitely going to buy it, and they purchase it minute one. I don't know if it's going to sell out or not, and that's, like, a big fear of mine, because it's like, I feel like, even though Youtooz, I mean, like, Hopes loves me, you know, like, I work so hard, and I know that they really appreciate everything that I do. It'd be kind of embarrassing to not have it sell out, you know, since they're doing something
positive thoughts.
Since they're doing something so nice for me and making this, and I'm so grateful for it that, like, I feel like on the 13th I'm just going to be, like, staring at the website and I'm going to keep refreshing, but I'm, like, hoping and praying that, like, it sells out in a few minutes, because how cool would that be to, you know, to, like, have my plushie there and have it sell it so quickly, to have that many people really want it. I mean, like, it's insane, the idea of that even happening.
Well, I'll guarantee 3 sales for you. That's the promotion. I'm gonna buy one for myself, and I think I'll give away 2. So I hope that I can get 3 in my cart.
Well,
unless you destroy.
Well, you might be able to
destroy the eBay market or something.
I don't think enough people would care about me for the eBay market to care.
No.
But I was going to say that you can buy 3, and maybe you'll be able to give away 3, because I'm going to be getting a couple of extra Kastro plushies, and I could send you one that's signed so that you have something extra exclusive.
No way, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god, you should have told me that off. Now people are going to get... You should... Oh, just say you've only got 2, so you can only give...
I'm going to break my hand after, so I won't be able to sign anymore.
Oh well. No, that's awesome. We can talk about that later then. That's awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, okay. I'll buy 5.
Perfect.
No, guys, buy. So that's the plug, right? It's July 13, did you say?
Mm-hmm. The 13th.
Cool. Awesome. I think, Mop will slave away and get this out real quick. So, now I've taken up an hour of your time. I think we better slide into the community questions.
For sure.
You can rapid fire them if you want, but it's completely up to you if it's your time. So
for sure, we can take as long as you need.
Okay. Well, I've got like I said, I've run off the run sheet, so even my stuff didn't even make sense. But now, these are great, these questions, because I was like, I had to cancel them out of my questions, because I was like, oh, that's actually something I'd want to ask. But how did you explain working for Youtooz to your family? This is from Beastos.
Well, it was actually pretty easy. I mean, they know I'm an artist. They don't fully understand a lot of the stuff that I do, a lot of the process that goes into it, because, I mean, the only way I can really explain it is saying, like, oh, I'm working on concepts, or, oh, I'm doing an illustration. But it was really just, my mom found out right away, because I was living with her when I first got the job. And then a couple months later, I got to move out on my own for the first time, which was awesome. But it was really just like saying, oh yeah, I design plushies and I work for a toy company now. Like that, it's pretty much like my go-to thing is just saying I work for a toy company or like a collectibles company. And that makes it really easy to explain.
Yeah, because there's a further explanation for the brand. So
exactly.
Just depends how much time you have in the day for a pass buyer. Yeah. Well, that's easy then. I don't know why I didn't cut this out, but It's Dirt has said, when did you start? We already know that. But what was your actual first plushie design for those that don't know?
Like I said earlier, it was Nona Brush Cute.
Oh, and you thought okay. I missed that bit. I was focused on the eyes. I was trying to remember the eyes. Oh,
No
right.
worries.
So that was your first, but you thought you got the eyes wrong.
I don't think I know I got those eyes wrong, and it haunts me to this
Allegedly.
day. Yeah, actually, I allegedly.
For comedic purposes, nothing is serious.
For comedic purposes, I've never
Yeah.
even heard of No Brush.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't hear
So-
anything, it's dirt. So.
That was actually
It is
made
a-
before I was hired. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. No, that was way before my time. Do you know anything about the vault from Turtle?
I'm not allowed to say.
I knew it'd be a great question just to skip over real quick. So,
You so and so. I knew you asked that question expecting me to be like, I'm literally not going to tell you anything.
I'm just like, it's like a dead meme now. I just don't even care. Just people bring it up on the Reddit all the time. I'm just like, oh.
I
no.
know. I'm like,
Some soldiers
be
gotta
patient.
reply.
It's coming. It's coming. I promise.
It's coming.
That's what I'll say.
What
Is
is
it's
your-
coming.
Your favourite concept you've designed, I suppose.
Oh wow.
Oh, from Youtooz, yeah.
Well, I mean, like, again, I feel like my concepts improve even if it's like microscopically, I feel like they improve every single day. And so every single day I end up making something that I like more than the previous day. But for stuff that's been released, and stuff that's like more original, like I love the Slime Rancher plushies, but I'd say that there was less creativity there just because they're already perfectly plush shaped. In terms of creativity, I think my very favorite one right now is the Foolish Gamer plushies, like the shark and then also the gold totem man.
Yeah.
I really like what I did with those. Like, I did a lot of research and I watched a ton of videos and I saw that, like, what people decided they liked about his lore, and I was like, oh my god, I've got the perfect idea. And then now there's a little shark that you can put the little guy into his mouth, and there's a gold guy, which is so cool. The gold fabric, I think it's awesome. So those are my favorites.
Oh, perfect. No, that's a good one, and I didn't really think of. So, Brian Turks asks, how does it feel to be a Youtooz employee?
It feels like a great time. It feels like a fun, cool time hanging out with buddies and working super hard.
Like you're not working. Dream job is...
It genuinely,
You know,
sometimes it doesn't feel like
it's
working
fun.
at all. No, like when I'm working on something that, like, say for example, if I really like the creator or if I suggested the concept, it barely feels like work. It feels like I get to do fan art for a living.
Yeah, a passion project turned professional.
Exactly. Which is sometimes hard to balance just because, you know, like if you care about something so much, you end up like overdoing it a lot. Like when I first started, I was so passionate about it. I would work till like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock every night, like without them asking me to, just because like I really wanted to work there and I wanted to do stuff and get stuff done. I've gotten a lot better at time management now, but like it's hard not to get lost in the sauce, you know?
Yeah, true. Yeah, sometimes I reckon there'd be some times where you go, oh shit, it's 5 o'clock. Last time you looked at the clock, it was 2 o'clock, etc. Like time would just
Yeah,
get away from you, I suppose.
that happens a lot, yeah.
Now, from the Wolverine Cool 23, how many sketches or designs do you do until the CC or IP like it?
I'm recognizing so many of these names.
Yeah.
It really depends. If it's like a more artistically oriented creator, then we get a few more revisions back. But if it's someone that doesn't really know a lot about art or doesn't really like have a lot of set stuff that they want for their character, it's usually like either one or none. And the longer I work at Youtooz, the more I'm noticing that there are less revisions on my concepts, just because like I'm getting better at interpreting what a creator is going to want. Like, oh, is this a gamer guy with dyed hair? I know exactly what this dude is going to want his shit to look like.
Well, that makes sense, actually. Yeah, you're just like, you get more of a feel. And like you said, you did the study on these guys that you didn't know. That you've actually got it. That actually makes so much sense. There's not just designing a blush. There's actually getting to know the YouTuber, the vibe, and
That's what we all do.
They might like.
That's
Yeah,
what we.
exactly.
That's what every single designer at Youtooz, like, we put a ton of research into this stuff. That's why we ask if there's anybody that's a fan on the teams, because they would know inside jokes that we don't. That's why every like creator Youtooz like has stuff related to them or looks like it was made by a fan, because we put a lot of energy into researching what would be what like a fan would want to see.
Okay, the next one is, who are your favourite YouTubers / what hobbies do you like to do in your free time, from Vino?
In my free time, I I don't know if it counts as a hobby, but I really like getting tattoos. That's something that I really enjoy doing in my free time when I get a
I did
chance.
see a few of them on Twitter when you had your cats in the photo and stuff. I saw a few.
Yeah, I've actually got a I
How,
actually
how
got a
many do you
few
have?
more. Jeez Louise. Well, I've got like a half sleeve on one arm, and then I've got a big piece on the other arm, and then I've got a big back piece, and I think that's it. I'm I'm working my
That
way up to
sums it
having
up.
I'm working my way up to having a full sleeve on one arm, and then I'm gonna start working on it everywhere else. But
Oh, that's
it's something that I always really enjoy doing whenever I have the ability to go get a tattoo and like have the funds and the time. It's just something that I mean, like, the pain is like not a spa day, but being able to like just close my eyes, and because of like the needle and stuff like that, being able to like kind of zone out and not be able to think about anything else, it's really cathartic for me in a way, because I'm always in my head a lot, my own head, overthinking things, and tattoos are a really great way for me to be able to like, you can't really focus on much else when you're doing the pain of a tattoo except for where you are in the moment. And so it gives me a good chance to just kind of like shut my eyes, blank out my brain, and just let it happen. And then at the end of it, I've got a really cool piece of art on my body.
That's cool. Yeah. And have you ever, I'm guessing what, now, I don't know, this will make sense to tattoo people, but is there a style of tattoo that you like? Because I don't know anything. You know how people, like,
Yeah.
PewDiePie types of tattoos and stuff, and they all have little subdivisions, don't they?
Yeah, realism and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I actually draw all my own tattoos, so they're all my style.
Oh, I thought I was going to be stupid asking that question.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's
No.
so cool. Yeah,
Oh my
right.
goodness. No, there's only one tattoo
That's
I have
awesome.
there's only one tattoo I have that I didn't draw myself. Actually, there's like 3, and they're just like mini flash sheet tattoos that I got, like, oh, these are like $90 and I want a tattoo right now. So I've got like a little potion bottle and a bumblebee and a crystal with like some water around it, and those are just like ones that weren't designed by me because I was like, those look sick and I want them.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, next one is, what percentage of plushies oh god, I didn't read that right. What percentage of plushies that you designed have we actually seen from Toozy? And we know there's thousands, I suppose. So it's like
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it?
Minuscule, absolutely. And those aren't even counting the ones that are like in the backlogs, because there are definitely a few plushies that like we finished, they're finalized, they're ready to go out the door. We're just waiting for the right time to drop them. And if we're not even including the concepts that I've made that weren't approved, or the concepts that I've made that didn't even make it past like the internal check before we sent it to the creator, you guys have seen maybe like 25 to 15% of what I've done.
Oh my god, yeah, because like you said, it takes like 6 months to actually create something.
And
There's gonna
that's
be a
at
backlog
minimum.
always.
That's at minimum,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's like you're working in the future. Yeah, you're like, this is done. I'll see this in 6 months.
You really
Just
just
see it
kind
on
of
the
like,
shelves.
once it's done, you just kind of forget about it, and then I'll like see, oh, Youtooz has tweeted. I'm like, okay, better go check to make sure I know what's dropped now, and then I'll retweet it if it's one of my favorites, or like I'll just like it if it's like something that I worked on. I'm like, but I like it still. Obviously, I worked on it, but like I'm trying to just quote retweet or retweet my favorite ones, because otherwise my entire feed is just going to be all the stuff I've worked on. So I like to just do my favorites.
Yeah, because a retweet counts as a tweet. That's the thing that's always been like weird on Twitter, I suppose. Because you can go to an account and you're like, oh, you're a retweet person.
Yeah.
It's like nothing personal there, or you go digging, etc.
Yeah. So I try to keep it a bit more
now-
personal.
Yeah. So this is asked a lot. And it's a funny question because it's like, favorites and all that stuff. But who are some of your favorite community members? But there is so many out there, I suppose. Who have you actually like talked to? I suppose in the
Oh my goodness. I would feel awful picking favorites. I mean, I love seeing everybody, like being able to see them in like the Reddit and everything. Which, by the way, I go through that Reddit like every other hour. Like if I've just finished a concept or like a group of concepts, I'll go skim through the Reddit real quick just to be like, oh, did anyone to update anything? Just because I love seeing what you guys do and what you put out. I mean, obviously this is going to sound like I'm kissing butt because I'm on your podcast, but I really enjoy seeing you in certain places. I mean, it's always nice to see your stuff because I feel very grounded and very polite and nice, and I like seeing you comment on stuff.
Well, now it's scary that you say that you're on Reddit all the time. I actually, a year ago I tried to, because there's like Spaghetti Nipples and Slash and Goldie that comment on everything and are like super positive. So I tried to be like, and then there's like so much to keep up with, and I'm in different time zones. So yeah, it's actually been, I do appreciate that because it actually is like, I have to think about time zones and stuff. Like, like we started talking at 7 a.m. It's kind of like a curse being in Australia, but it's worth it getting that stuff out. Like, I'm sorry guys, I wish I posted more, but as you know, there's a budget, so no, I appreciate that. I think absolutely, yeah. No, thank you. Thank you again for.
Of course.
I think we've been talking for nearly 2 hours and only, because we had those technical difficulties at the start. Yeah,
no worries. I'm happy to keep
about. So.
Happy to keep talking as long as you want me on. Someone else that I also really like, I think she stopped doing concepts recently, but Millie, I really like her.
Yeah.
I really love her art style. It's just like adorable. Like it's so cute. It's one of my favorites to see on the Reddit when she does concepts. And I mean, like, there's a lot of people that I recognize and I'm like, oh, I know exactly what your personality is, or, oh, I know that you always comment this certain way. Creeper Russ intimidates the shit out of me. I see him comment on something and I'm like, he's probably just going to say mid. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, yep. Creeper, I remember, yep. Yeah, Reddit's really fun. It's, like, really artsy, or it's informative, or it's, because it's informative on stock, which helps people, that aren't aware that something's going to sell out, because Youtooz obviously gone forever. It's a good. I like Reddit and I like the Instagram, and then basically Twitter's just for shit posting, basically.
Essentially, I mean, my favorite thing about the Reddit is being able to like see what people's thoughts are on plushies, especially because like I'll be like, oh, I think this is such a super cool concept. I'm so happy with it. I think it turned out great, and then people in the Reddit will be like, this sucks. This is mid, and I'm like, okay. I'll fix that for next time, I guess.
Well, back to the positive thing. I think the mature guys like me and Booze, and I know there's been a lot of people in and out. I think we have like a responsibility to kind of even out the negativity as well. So we've like there's kids just getting destroyed in there and stuff like. Yeah. It must be real hard to be a moderator, and
I bet.
Yeah. I think it's important for the older people to stick around for as long as possible, even if we're not collecting anymore, just to kind of...
I think it's like a nice presence to like have that. It's almost like an older brother vibe, like being able to like provide that positive energy to be like, hey, you don't have to be so negative all the time. You can say you like stuff. It's not a bad thing to like stuff and to be positive and nice.
Oh, you can like a lot of stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
It just depends if you've got enough budget for the collecting. So... Now, we're a bit of a gamer. We've got from Panama Chiller. It says favourite games, but yeah, we're guessing you're into the gaming a bit. How do you, what aspects, he asks, what aspects do you value the most when it comes to gaming? And it's a pretty broad question, but yeah, what are you playing at the moment? What do you like, etc.?
My favourite games always end up being like sandbox games like Minecraft and just stuff where you can like build and create. I'd say my least favorite games to play are ones where if I look up a playthrough, it's going to be exactly the same as if I played it myself. I prefer games where like if I play it, it's going to be a unique experience from anybody else that has played it, because otherwise it kind of feels like, well, what's the point? I could just look up a playthrough. But if I'm not playing a game, because I'm one of those people that really likes watching people play games, so I really like watching my partner play games. We're just replaying through the Portal series right now. We've played them both like 3 times this past week and completed them, and we're still playing it. It's just the story is impeccable, and that's always what I'm looking for, is like really good story and gameplay that doesn't rely on like shoot 'em up kind of like, oh, kill the zombie or whatever. Like Portal is a puzzle game, but it's like a first person shooter style, and I really really think that that's like such a cool thing. Obviously, I mean, like it's the game of all time, Portal 2, but it's just the kind of thing that I'm looking for, like Portal 2, Soma, Red Dead Redemption, like that kind of thing. Like Red Dead is a little different from the others on the list, but it's all about story and like being able to tell that the people that worked on the game loved the game, you know, like it doesn't feel like they're copying anything else, or even if they are kind of, you know, like air quotes copying something, you can tell that they just had so much love for what they were making behind it.
Oh, sorry, my cat just jumped on my laptop. Oh my god. Oh, I just had a heart attack then. I did take that in though. No, that makes sense. Yeah, games that actually, I love Minecraft. Like, I actually get addicted to it. Like we'll jump on like once a year, get addicted to it for 3 months, and like I kind of like say to myself there's more important things, but at the end it's like catching up with friends. It's like the most wholesome shit ever.
Agreed. I always end up like once or twice a year picking up Minecraft, playing it for like a month straight on one server, and then like I've finished everything I can in that server. I'm the top of the top. I've got like full netherite gear. I've got a really cool huge base because I'm always the builder. Like I like to make things.
Oh, yep.
Which you could probably guess based on my job.
Yeah, true.
But I always like I'll get to the end game and then I'll be like, I'm not like friends with anybody in the server, because I mean they're all just people I met in the server, so I guess I'm done. I'm bored, done playing.
I'm out.
I'm out later, and then I like
restart.
I won't play again until like the next year or like in 6 months, and then I'll look up a new server to do it, because I mean if I'm not playing with friends, I'm just playing by myself and like meeting people and being nice to them and stuff like that. I prefer to start over on new servers because it gives me goals to go towards.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, right. Okay, now you've got me wanting to play Minecraft again.
I made myself want to play it too.
Yeah, you just get the itch, like your fear trigger.
Oh, the Minecraft urge. I gotta play Minecraft!
Youtooz and Craft Crab basically asked the same question. Which plush was the hardest to design?
The Technoblade flop. Yeah.
Technoblade flop?
Yeah,
Yeah, right. What makes that difficult?
Well, I mean, it was the first time we ever did a flop.
Oh, true.
And so it was really difficult to, like, teach the factory how, like, we wanted it to look and, like, get it to look the way we wanted it to look. And, like, even that one alone, it, like, taught me so much. Like, you can see, like, flops that came out in the future, they look a little different. Like, every single plushie we do, I mean, like, we're still learning. I mean, any company, like, we're not... like any plushie company that like works on stuff like that, you can see over time their plushies get better as they like learn how different things work, like thread sculpting and sublimation, like that kind of stuff. When you start to learn more and more techniques, you're able to tell the factories what you want and get a better product out of it. And so like the Technoblade flop, which we worked on, had at least 20, I think, back and forth sets of revisions, and eventually we just had to be like, okay, this is as good as we're going to get it. I think it looks great. It looks awesome. Ship it. And it looked awesome, and I loved it, and it's just really cool to be able to be like, okay, we pushed ourselves as hard as we possibly could for this one. Now let's make an even better one next time.
And now the flop's iconic, I suppose. Like, all that hard work. And then you just got to build a base for it to be normalised.
Exactly.
I just hit my drink bottle. So many technical difficulties. I'm just freaking out that I'm going to spill a coffee on my laptop or something.
Lose the whole conversation. It'll be for nothing. We'll have had a wonderful conversation for nothing.
Oh, no. I'll just get an AI or something to fake your voice and we'll just... This is how I think it went. Blah, blah, blah. Is Todd keeping you hostage from Zambina? I guess you don't know yet.
I'm not at liberty to, I mean, like, that's crazy. I mean, for a goat to get up to my spaceship, it would take a rocket, and perhaps a rocket that one would obtain out of a vault. I couldn't possibly begin to, I can't say. I couldn't say.
And only monkeys can fly so far. So
exactly. Like, Todd's a goat. He's not a monkey, so he wouldn't be able to get up here anyways. I think I'm safe for now, but I always keep an eye out. I sleep with one eye open.
Just make sure to What should a tweet be? That's like a secret tweet. You should put like a secret tweet out going.
The secret.
What's your red flag? What's
the secret tweet is my
safe
plush
word?
drops tomorrow.
Oh my god. Shit. Then the sales just got. Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
keep an
fake
eye
hostage
out.
to sell stuff.
If
Now,
you want to
from
see
comedy-
Kastro safe again, please buy my plushie.
Oh, true. That's a good marketing point, actually. Now, someone that just got their own Youtooz just in the mail, comedy, asks
yes.
what your favorite Pokemon is, which I can never
It's-
answer.
I
question.
know it's so hard to answer. I've got like a group of like 6 or 7 that are my favorites, and a few of them are like they always get like the usual people being like, "Oh, those are your favorites," and it's like, yeah, dude, don't be weird about it. They're just my favorites. Like I'll list off like 3 or 4 of my favorites right now: Vaporeon, Gardevoir, Gengar, and Misdreavus, and
Yeah.
Rotom. And like those are like I tend to lean towards ghost types or dark types or psychic types, but the first 2, which is Vaporeon and Gardevoir, they always get the really Vaporeon and Gardevoir, and it's like I shut up. They're
Well, everyone's
Pokemon.
got to have an evolution.
Everyone's got to
My-
have an evolution.
I love Leafeon for the evolution line.
Oh yeah, Leafeon's gorgeous.
Umbreon's a bit, everyone likes Umbreon.
Everyone
but-
likes Umbreon.
Definitely, I think Leafeon just stands out a bit for me. I'm always a bit of a grass type sucker for starters. I think like 8 out of, how many generations are there? 9?
Like
or
9
something?
now?
Yeah, like I reckon 6 out of 9 I would have genuinely chose the grass, except for Gen 2. And
I'm always a water type starter.
yeah. My second would be the lean towards the water.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have like the favorite from each generation, and they change over time. And but my first was Gen 3, so that's always a lot more nostalgic to me. Like being old enough to play that game. I mean, I never really got to play. I got to play the first games like on my Mac. Like someone did the hacks thing. Just put it on the computer, and we used to play it at school.
Aw.
Yeah. That was good memories as well when I wasn't playing Minecraft. Now, what are your relationships with Todd and Austin's, plural, from Alonist poster guy?
Well, 1, Todd is my boss. 2, Todd is my friend. 1 of the Austins is my boss as well. And the other Austin is someone that I've worked with before, and I got to meet. It was really nice. I mean, Todd is definitely like, he hangs around all the time. He's messaging me memes all the time. Generally a pain in the butt, but I love him. He is still using the very much a furry icon that I drew for him last year, which is hilarious to me. But no, I mean, like every single person I work with, I have a lot of fun with.
Oh, that's great. At least you didn't throw one under the bus then, so I think we knew what the answer was.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, they suck. I hate working with them.
Just for off, you should see what Kastro says when they're not recording. So, now from a fellow Youtooz designer, Spooky, the kitty.
Hi, Spooky.
There's a few here. What's the process like after the main plush design is approved, like turnarounds, patterns, etc.?
Well, we have like a PDF that we work through, and we pretty much use the same template every time because it really is the same thing. One of the production artists does a turnaround, and then they show it to me for approval because I am the one that designs them. So, like, say for example, if there's something on the back of the plush that I forgot to mention, they'll show it to me. And like, say for example, if it's a dog, I'll be like, oh, you forgot to add a tail, or oh, there's a white tip on the end of the tail from what I found from my research of this dog. And so I get the turnaround, and then once that's finalized, they do all of this in like Illustrator to like make sure it's all vectorized, so it's easier for the factories to like pull apart and everything. And then it's just like the turnaround, the Pantones, which is like the colors that the factory is able to pull from. It's the details, so finding pictures of plushies online that are like similar to what we want, and then finding ways that we can make it like unique and make it our own. There's the tags that you guys find on the plushies that have like they say Kastro on them and then the name of the production artist that helped me out with them. And they'll say what the plush is. There's the soft tags, which are the little pink tags that are on their butts usually. We work on the packaging, and then yeah, I mean, like it's a pretty streamlined process at this point because we've been doing it for so long, and even still, we keep finding ways to like make it even better and make it even faster. Which has worked out really well for us because we had a really big backlog of concepts to work through, and now we're finally getting to the point where a concept gets approved and right away we can put it into final files, and then it gets sent off to the factory, and then usually if it's urgent it'll come back to us in like a couple days to a week, and then if it's not urgent it'll probably sit in the backlogs for a little while until we have time for it, you know, like other stuff doesn't need to go out first. Comes back to us, I will give it the once over, double check it, see if anything's off. If it is, I'll note it. And then one of the production artists will make a feedback sheet, and they'll also tell me, hey, I noticed this, did you want to change it? And I'll be like, no, I actually like the way that looks. I know it's different from the concept, but I'll update it, which sometimes happens, that the concept gets updated, or the person has changes, like we'll send them the final sample, which would be going out to you guys, and then they'll say, actually, I think I want the headband to be blue, or instead of red, something like that. And then we'll go in and change that for them, and I'll update the concept and all of that stuff. And then eventually, once it's finally approved by the creator, the final sample, who is involved in the entire process, then it's finally ready to go. And then we put it into production at the factory. And then it's, from there, it's pretty much just moving on to the next thing. But it's not really a one... we work on one plush and then we work on the next plush. It's like we're juggling at least like 30 to 40 plushies at a time. And like we'll be like, oh, here's the sample back, and I'll be like, oh my god, I forgot we were even working on this one. Let me go double check the thread to make sure that like we're not missing anything here. It's always working on everything all at once. It's really keeps you busy.
A beautiful chaos, it seems.
An excellent dance.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, there you go, Spooky, for when you get your full-time job. You don't have to learn about some of that stuff. They also ask your favourite Sonic character and your favourite Pokemon game.
I was excited to answer this one. It's going to sound really cliche and boring, but Sonic is my favorite Sonic character. I think he's fun, and I think he's a really well-rounded character. And it's hard not to love a little blue guy that's like kind of silly and kind of like a prankster and just fun. That's always my favorite kind of character, is something that like is like a goofball. But second favorite character would have to be Knuckles. Just because sure. It's mostly just about like, I don't know if anyone's seen Sonic the movie 2. It was so good.
Yeah,
and
I think awesome.
They did Knuckles' character so accurately and so well, and it's really like, again, he's a goofball and I love him, and like they've got such depth to them, and it's really nice to be able to see that depth come out on the big screen. And in terms of favorite Pokemon game, I mean, it's always the latest one to come out, but in terms of like the first one that I ever played that like has the most nostalgic factor for me, it was actually Diamond and Pearl, and then Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Okay, so Spooky said there's this Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Yeah, okay. No, I love Diamond and Pearl. I love all of them, so really. Good.
Diamond and Pearl were like a class above.
Even the Mystery Dungeon games. Well, I say games, I only played the first one, and that made me cry so much.
I never got to finish. I never finished the Mystery Dungeon game because it got too hard and I couldn't finish it.
Oh yeah, it's hard. Yeah,
it's deceivingly
but if you want to cry
hard.
At the end of a cutscene, do it. Oh yeah, that's so hard. Like tactical. Oh my god, actually, it's giving me a headache kind of thinking about it now. But it's like so cool at the same time. That concept, I think. Like,
I think it's
just
awesome.
Undefeated for new ideas.
I mean, they isekai'd you into a Pokemon. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And I was Trico, obviously. So, oh yeah, sorry, that was my first starter. Was Trico. I love Trico.
Oh, Trico. Mine was Piplup.
Oh yeah, Yep. I think that whole generation was just amazing. Anyway.
Oh, it was awesome.
Oh, I know. Sorry. Piplup was from Gen 4, but that was. I still really like Torterra. Was such a boss in that.
Oh my god, I know. Torterra is awesome.
That was kind of an interesting. Yeah, that's like the ninja flame monkey, the absolute boss of a build, Torterra, and then Empoleon was like kind of like graceful, that strong water type as well. That was a pretty strong generation.
You can't beat a turtle. There's no higher tier in character design than a turtle.
I used to love having long neck turtles as a pet as a kid.
Aww.
I loved having turtles. I thought they were just the funniest thing.
That's adorable.
Their neck's a little bit bigger than another one, and I just loved it. Now, Void has asked a question that's kind of been answered because how's the place at Youtooz? But of course, there's not really the office anymore. But was it small? Yeah. Was it medium, big? And kind of goes with Blade. You kind of had that breakup party. He asked how was the drinks there. So kind of how was the vibe of the Youtooz office when you were actually there? If you can put it to a size comparison type of thing that most people would generalize with.
I mean, like, I only went there a couple of times, and, like, I don't really know how to compare it to, like, for example, a small or medium or large, because this is my first, like, real, like, industry job. I've never had, like, a job that's, like, I've never worked at a desk like that or anything like that before. I'd say, like, in terms of how big an office can get, it was pretty small, because, like, I mean, it was the office that they got when they were first starting up, so they didn't have many employees when they first started up, and so, like, by the time that, like, we stopped having an office, it would have been, like, way too small to house the amount of employees that we have if we were to go back into office anyways, so it just didn't make sense to keep the office anymore, I guess.
And it's actually, it's a good question, but a hard question, because it's your concept of that, because when you think office in movies, there's, like, the Wolf of Wall Street, who's a massive office, and then there's the Incredibles, Mr. Incredible sitting in his tiny desk. So it wasn't slavery, but it sounded like it was a good medium.
Oh no, it was like nice. There weren't like cubicles or anything. It was like very open concept, a lot of desks, a lot of computers, and that's part of the reason why I'm glad that like I never had to go in or anything, because I would not have been able to focus. Like there would just have been too many people around me and like too much. I need privacy, you know, like to be able to like zone out to a podcast or like a video that I'm watching, and like focus in on what I'm doing, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if there was like someone walking behind me and talking to someone else or something like that.
Yeah, just like school, endless distractions. Like imagine if I was homeschooled or something. Oh my god.
Oh, cringe.
Maybe cringe. What is your favorite Youtooz product in general from Cherry Goat?
My favorite Youtooz product in general.
Or plural.
I mean, like, I don't really have a favorite so much as I have, like, I mean, like, obviously I'm like, oh, I love all the plushies because I work for Plushies. I love the vinyls because I mean, I work for Youtooz. I really like the Todd vinyl. It's really cool. I mean, one of the first Youtooz that I asked to be sent to me was the Nyan Cat one because I thought that one was really sick. The Hatsune Miku one is awesome. It's hard to have a favorite, you know? I mean, like, I think I'd have to say probably, like, usually just the latest one that I've worked on.
Well, that's it too. Like, what's fresh? It's just like Pokemon, really. Like, you get obsessed with the new generation, and you kind of forget about the old ones, and then you get sick of them. Yeah, I struggle to have a favorite with anything. Like, with movies, it's just, like, split into genres, because I can't, like, I'll have a favorite comedy movie, or favorite action movie. Like, I can't just say that's my favorite movie. And then there's actually like rewatchability as well. Like
I just like everything, you know? Like it's a point of contention. I just love everything. I'm overly positive. I prefer to like things than dislike things.
Yeah, exactly. Glass half full.
Always.
If Youtooz were to make a plush based off a meme, brackets, Uganda Knuckles, etc., what would your choice be? Bring a meme to life, I suppose, from Mick Vibe.
The TBH creature, or also known as autism creature.
Okay, let me Google that one. TBH creature.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? TBH?
Yeah,
okay,
it looks like a little guy.
Oh, okay. What would that be? A vinyl or a plush?
I think it could work as either, honestly.
Yeah, like pat its head.
Exactly.
Oh,
He's
funny.
so smooth. He's got such a smooth little dome piece.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, autism creature. Know your meme. Well, I learnt my meme, so.
They did was on the tin.
Now, we were talking about, like, genres. So animated movies is definitely one. Spaghetti Nipple asks, what's your favourite animated movie? But even that's hard.
That's so hard because, like, again, animated movies I wouldn't really call a genre. It's more of a medium. Like, there's like you wouldn't put Beauty and the Beast in the same category as, like, say, Sausage Party. Like, they're both animated movies, but they're not the same thing. It's it's just really about the sort of genre that you're thinking about. But, like, again, I'm a lover, not a hater. I'm usually the latest movie that I watched is my favorite one. I really think that Encanto was really amazing. Like, that was a really, really good animated movie. Zero complaints. And that's just the one that I can, like, think of right now off the top of my head. And I mean, like, every time I watch an animated movie, it's usually like, oh, this has gotten so much better. This is so much more impressive. This is amazing. And then I'll be like, this is my favorite movie of all time. And then I'll go see the next movie and I'll be like, this is awesome. So amazing. So impressive. It's my favorite movie of all time. It's
That's
a cycle.
it. There's, like, I heard that about Encanto. I've still got to watch it. I know that's
it's
nothing
so
but
good.
good reviews. Yeah.
So good.
And the musical as well, obviously. You got that. Well, I guess they all do, don't they? But
Oh, yeah.
like, Soul was a really good one that I remember. Pixar does do a lot of, like, values and morals and lessons.
Oh, yeah.
Which
No,
is like,
they've got it
but
down
then
to
there's
science.
There's so many classics. But yeah, it's not here, not for me to talk about. It's your podcast. I love this one. If you had one superpower, what would it be? From Linked.
I always answer this question the same way, no matter who asks it to me. Probability. I just think that's, I mean, like, it's kind of like a cheesy cop-out answer of like, oh, yeah, no, I'd pick probability because I think it's the most powerful thing. Because you could just say, like, what's the probability that I win $100 million next week? 100%. What's the probability that, like, my bruise on my knee heals instantly? 100%. What's the probability that I fail this job interview? 0%. It's a cop-out, but it's a fun one to play with.
Well, it's like Domino off Deadpool 2.
Yeah, her power is luck. It's kind of like that.
Just luck. Like, yeah. It just falls off a building.
Lands
everything
on
just
something soft.
crumbles to her. Yeah, like, everything just goes her way. That's so funny. That's a good one. I actually haven't heard that. Like we talked about that all the time in high school. Like, what would your superpower be? Yeah, right. It never really made sense to me until I watched the Deadpool 2. I was like, yeah, that's a good one too.
It's a good power.
Fellow celebrity Top Pops has asked, what's your favourite Top Pops plushie?
Probably Top Pops.
Yeah. There's your plug. There's your promotion.
There you go. Now where's my money?
Where's your money? Favourite video game character? Because there's, like, favourite video games, but...
Wheatley.
You know.
Wheatley from
concept.
Portal 2. Easy.
Oh, right. I was, like, thinking
easy.
of Portal characters, and I don't play it, so I'm like... Are they
You
gonna
should
say-
play it. You should play it. It's
should.
so good.
I'll
It is
just watch
the
some
game
gameplay
of all
it,
time.
probably.
No, you gotta play it, man. It's on the Switch now. Like, it is the
Oh, is
game
it?
of all time. It is won awards. It is like, if someone were to take an alien like me and say, and they were to say, what's a video game? And you would have to sit them down and make them play Portal and then Portal 2, because that is the peak of video games. And Wheatley is the peak of boys, and I love him.
Okay, so now I've got to play Minecraft and Portal.
Yeah.
So that kind of rounds out those questions, but I got if I cap it at 2 hours, I've technically got 7 minutes.
Take all the time you need.
I'm actually interested to see, like, how many Youtooz do you actually own yourself? Like, do you go buy some, or do you kind of get
I get them
the
whenever...
ones you design? You kind of get.
I get whatever Youtooz I ask for, and, like, that sounds like such, I get them whenever I ask for them. Like, I don't even need to ask or anything. But, like, it's really just like, if I wanted it, I just have to ask someone on the team, be like, hey, can you get this sent to me? And they're like, yeah, sure. Because, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for me to, like, they're paying me. Why? It wouldn't make much sense for me to buy the Youtooz back with the money that they are paying me. But I actually don't really have many of the plushies, just because I'm still waiting on some of them to be shipped, but then other ones if I got every single plushie, my house would be filled. I wouldn't have any room. But in terms of vinyls, I think I have 6, 7, 8, 9, I have like 12 or 13, and I got those when I went to the office one time.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
guessing there's just like a bookshelf of them. Mm-hmm. Oh, they do that on the TikTok, don't they? They have that promo shelf where they deliberately put leaks in and stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe not deliberately, people just find it.
Oh, it's deliberate.
Deliberate, yeah, you'd hope so. That kind of rounds out my questions, but what do you think as a plushie designer? Mm-hmm. Do you think there's going to be, like, I know this is like leaks thing, but do you think, what changes would you like to see, I suppose, with plushies in the future? Is it a simple thing like you'd like to be making more, or you'd like to, like there's a different price range or something like that, like there's 6-inch, 1 foot, 2 foot, etc. Do you try and bring a creative input to the team, and what do you think the future's going to be like for Youtooz with the plush route?
Well, I mean, I always get my input in there as like the person that designs all the plushies. Of course, like my input is always taken into account, which is something that's really nice about the job. I think I've been getting to do a lot more stuff that I find really interesting, at least, and I'm really enjoying the way that it's like going. Which is about all I can say, because otherwise it's like getting into leak category. But I'm doing stuff that I find very interesting and I think is very fun.
That's perfect. There we go. Well, I'm sorry. I'm actually just like, when you're answering that, I was like, oh crap, I haven't talked about cats, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on Discord or something.
Sure.
My cats can meet your cats via photo or something.
Yeah, they can have a play date.
It's funny, like, is there like an older brother type of thing with your cats? Like, I've got Cornelius, and Maisie, who's the little kitten.
That's
and Corn's
adorable.
Corn's so big compared to Maisie, and it's like a older brother type of thing. I think we've got a pretty good setup at the moment.
Wolfie is the younger brother, but he is a lot bigger than Tizzy already, because he's a ragdoll and Tizzy's a Devon Rex, and Devon Rexes are pretty small. Both these cats we had to get not like purebred, because my partner is very, very allergic to cats. So we had to get cats that had lower allergy like indexes, because like my partner used to live with me in my parents' house, and they have like a really fat orange tabby, and his allergies were always just the worst there. So we had to get ones that were a bit more hypoallergenic.
Well, I think the bigger one here, Corn, has got a bit of Maine Coon in it.
Ooh, that's close to ragdoll.
Because we rescued it off a farm. Maisie was from the adoption centre, like looked after till 3 months, all that. While Corn's just the big brute that used to hunt on farms, and now it's like a house cat. So
the big meathead. Yeah, no, both of these cats are very spoiled.
So big. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love spoiling them too.
I know, right? They're so like you're not gonna like make them too spoiled. They're just cats. They're not people. But Tizzy, oh, voice crack. Tizzy is very much the older brother that like gets really annoyed by his little brother wanting to play, but the little brother is bigger than him, and so it doesn't really matter if Tizzy doesn't want to play, because Wolfie will like bowl him over, like come skidding around the corner and then bowl him over no matter what Tizzy wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love talking, because I'm a completely new cat person, so I like hearing these stories, because it makes sense to me. Like, my girlfriend's the cat person, and I just had dogs my whole life.
Yeah.
And we finally, one of the housemates is allergic, but he's handling it fine, so we got the all clear to have the cat, and now 2 cats, and I'm putting a cap on it now, because it's two's enough for now. But I love hearing all the stories, and I'll definitely pick your brain as a cat enthusiast if I have any problems in the future.
Absolutely. I've always been a cat person, and I converted my partner into a cat person too.
Yeah, there's always a conversion.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kastro, that's coming up about 2 hours. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
We're going to sell out that figure. You've sent me something here. What's that?
Well, I'm sending you a bunch of pictures of the cats.
And also, cute.
And I also sent you a picture of the old Budsies version of Kastro.
Oh. There you go. Youtooz littered everywhere. Well, that's awesome. I don't think I can do too much more promotion than just slap that on the screen, and I think they're going to sell. I don't think I have to tell people to buy it, but what's
Buy
your final... And I know people support you on coffee as well, so is there anything you'd like to plug or say before you go?
I mean, follow me on Twitter if you want to. If you're interested in that, hang out on coffee. Maybe buy me a Starbucks if you want to. Buy my plush. Not if you want to. You have to do that one. That one's mandatory. And listen to more of CAF's podcasts.
Thank you, everyone. This has been Limited Time. Thank you, Kastro. We'll talk soon.
Bye.